Well, joining me now in the studio is N.J. Ayuk. He's the CEO of Centurion Law Group, and he's a leading energy lawyer and author of a new book named Big Barrels, African Oil and Gas and the Quest for Prosperity. Good to have you with us here on DW.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Now, your book turns on its head the notion that countries in Africa can suffer from a resource curse, that, energy-rich countries can suffer because of this. Which countries stand out as good examples?
We have an issue in Africa with the resource curse. People talk about Nigeria, which is a problem. Huge amounts of oil, a lot of money being made, but you still have a lot of people who are still suffering. Angola, you still have that problems there. But now the question right now is that how do we turn this around? So you start looking at what do new African countries put in place to really make oil useful. For example, Ghana, they put one of the best regulations that is really driving their country forward. I'll give an example. Norway took 40 years to set up a sovereign wealth fund to save oil and gas revenues. Ghana did it in 25 days. So there's some good things coming out of Africa, even during difficult times.
But how do you tackle huge issues, for example, like corruption, whether that's domestic or international? These are just huge challenges.
Corruption is a problem in the continent. If today, most Africans would say if Bill Gates was African, he'll be broke. The problem is that when you look at the natural resource sector, he has always been plagued by issues of mismanagement, poor governance. But we have to change that. My generation of Africans has to start looking for a way forward and say, can we focus on solutions? Can we find new models that can make Africa better and Africa successful? And that's what Big Barrels is about. And I hope everybody buys this book on Amazon.
It's great that you have such positive examples in this book. But, the oil industry, can't it be a bit of a double-edged sword? When you look at Nigeria, for example, which gets so much of its revenue from the oil industry, and all of a sudden the price drops off a cliff, what happens then? It
comes to an issue of leadership. Manage expectations. Don't tell people to move away from the traditional African economy, which is agriculture. Industrialize your country. Why are we flaring gas when we can monetize that gas to power all societies? We cannot run Africa with generators. You need real power, but we're flaring the gas. So you can use that. You can monetize your resources and not only focus on oil.
But it's got to be about diversification of energy sources as well, hasn't
Absolutely.
it? Not just putting all your eggs in one basket.
Absolutely. Germany doesn't produce any oil, but it has more power than any African countries. Belgium has more power than any African country. So what we offer with Big Barrels, we're saying, we are not looking at a European model or an American model. We're picking at success stories within Africa, segments, little flashes of hope, and say, if you're a new country, for example, Namibia or Mozambique, you've done it, you're looking at it, you can see where they've been successful. Nigeria has done local content, and it has worked very well on that specific issue. You can pick and choose some good things and still push Africa forward and make these resources work for everybody.
All right, N.J. Ayuk, author of Big Barrels, a new book shedding light on best practice in the oil industry in Africa. Thank you very much for
Thank you so much for having me.
Sharing your insights with us today.
Absolutely. Appreciate it.